thought it'd be really helpful to share some tips and tricks on how to keep plants happy and healthy in your nursery containers until you're ready to get them planted out in the garden. If you are a beginner gardener or if you are starting fresh and re-landscaping a whole new area, I highly recommend buying your plants on sale, and that's exactly what I did. I find that when I'm buying these plants on sale, I kind of hoard them and collect them, and they sit in nursery containers until they get planted out in the yard. So I want to share with you how I maintain my nursery containers to keep the plants healthy, so when it's time to plant them in the ground, they are going to flourish and survive and look amazing. So the first thing that I purchased at the sale was hardy geraniums, and I bought a couple of these on sale last year and I fell in love with them, so I knew I wanted to get some more, and these were in the clearance section, so I got 3 of these. Now the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that there's no dead or broken branches, because if there is, I will snip them off. But what more importantly I'm looking for is any weeds that are growing in the base of the plant. These geraniums look pretty good, but I'm gonna give them a really, really good inspection just to make sure there's no weeds that I need to pull out of the container. A couple of the leaves look a little bit dry and spent, but I'm not too worried about that. This one looks a little more stressed and has a little bit more brown leaves. We did just have a heat wave. Now it only did last 3 or 4 days, but still, plants that are in nursery containers are definitely going to show a little more stress than plants in the ground that are more established. So this one definitely looks like it was feeling the heat. I'm just gonna pull a little bit of the dead off, but more importantly, I am looking for any weeds in the bottom of the container. And you can see right here, this looks pretty good. I don't have to do any weeding. I do have a couple of shrubs that definitely have a lot of weeds that I have to take care of ASAP. Another thing that I did before I started this process of going through and picking off the dead leaves and looking for any weeds in the flower containers is I did give them a really good drink of water, so when I do find a weed, I can easily pull it out. Also, you want to check the bottom of your container as well to see if there's any weeds popping out the bottom here, or roots, and I don't see any roots, I don't see any weeds, so that tells me that this container is fine. It's not stressed out. The only stress that we have was from a little bit of heat damage, but other than that, we're good to go. Look at this sweet little bloom. Oh, I love it. All right, the next thing that I'm going to clean up is this Carl Forster grass. Now this grass does have some broken branches that I'm going to cut back, and there are some weeds in the base of the container, so I'll show you that and show you how I clean this up. My front yard design does call for 2 of these, but I have one, I don't know if you can even see it right here in the corner. I have one in a container, so that's the other one that I'm going to plant up. I got that last year on sale. So I'm just going to plant both of these up per the flower design when I get a chance to get out front and finally start planting. We do have a little bit more work that we have to do in the front flower bed. We have to lay some more compost down and some more cardboard. So we're not quite ready to do a mass planting yet, but we're getting really, really close. All right, so you can see down here, I do have some clumps of weeds, and all I'm going to do is pull these weeds out as much as I can by the root, because when I plant these plants, I do not want the weeds planted along with the plant. I think just because I'm keeping this in the container, I'm going to trim the other grass back as well. I'm just going to give it a quick haircut right across the top, not hurting the plant. Okay, there is Carl Forster all cleaned up, and I got this big container, I don't know if you can see it, for only $6. My garden design also called for 3 different grasses, so I got Blue Hawk's big blue stem ornamental grass that gets 5 to 6 feet tall and 18 to 24 inches wide. I'm going to give this one just a quick look. I don't see any weeds at all in this one. I'm not going to trim it back because there really aren't a lot of broken branches. All right, here's the next one. I do have a couple of weeds in here. Don't be afraid to manipulate and maneuver your plant, grab handfuls of it and kind of move it away so you can get a better look at what weeds you do have growing. And again, you want to make sure when you're weeding, you always are pulling the weeds and getting the complete root. No sense in weeding if you're not getting the complete root. It'll just come back. Okay, that one's good, and I have one more. Let me go grab it. All right, here's the third one. And it looks good to me. I'm not seeing any weeds of any kind. I also got 3 of these Amsonia Proven Winter Spring Theories. I've never planted this plant before, and it is not in the landscape design, so this for the front flower bed, so this is going to go somewhere else. I couldn't resist. They are beautiful, but there's a lot of weeds at the base of the containers. Let me show you. See all these weeds? Very important to get all of these weeds out, but I need to be mindful and to get this in the ground right away because roots are popping out of the bottom of the container. Ew, lots of weeds. There's a whole bunch of little weeds right in the midst of the plant. So I'm going to try to get all of those out. And I will be repeating this process until I get these plants actually in the ground. I don't know, maybe once a month. I'll go through and give them a check and make sure that they aren't weeding out of control like they are right now. I know that I have shared in many of my videos how much I enjoy buying plants on sale. Even if the plant is past its prime and it's no longer flowering like these 3, I'm okay with that. That is perfectly fine. These are perennials. These are going to come back year after year. I'm not going to worry about not getting any blooms this year because next year they're going to be beautiful in the landscape. Next up, I'm going to take a look at this ornamental grass that I got. It is a Carex. So I don't know if you can see, but there's actually a divot where some of the potting soil either washed away or I don't know what happened to it. I'm assuming it washed away. What I'm going to do, because I'm not going to be planting this plant right away, I'm going to go ahead and take some extra potting soil and I'm going to fill this back up. There's a bug. I'm going to fill this back up so the root ball is not so exposed, because I do have some roots here that are exposed and I'm not quite sure where this plant is going to end up. So better be safe than sorry. I am going to throw some potting soil in here to keep it happy and healthy. Because these plants are in containers, they are going to require a lot more water than if they were in the ground. So keep in mind that if you are purchasing plants, especially on sale, you're keeping them in the nursery containers until you're ready to plant them, or you find a location where you want your plant to live. Keep in mind you are going to definitely have to water a little more often. You're going to want to keep a close eye on these plants and look for any stress. If they do seem to be stressed, that's a good indication that either they need fertilization, they're in the wrong sunlight location, either they're getting too much sun or too little sun, or they just need to get in the ground. Okay, see, now that we have a nice even root ball all the way around, no holes, no divots, I'm gonna call this one good. I got these proven winner butterfly bushes for $20 each, and look at how full they are. But the closer you look, there are some weeds that are intermixed in at least one of these containers. This one looks good, and it doesn't look too stressed out. There are a little bit of leaves that are showing some stress. No roots coming out the bottom, and no signs of weeds. So this one's good, but this one definitely does have a big old weed growing out the side of it right here. Ooh, look at that root ball. There's one right over here. Look at that. Now for the star of the show, which is little lime hydrangeas. You can see these are very large containers, and I got 6 of these little lime hydrangeas, and they were each $20. It does look like the garden center actually did do a little bit of pruning on these plants, and they do look a little rough for wear, but again, they were a great price, a couple of easy steps to maintain them in their containers until they get out in the landscape, and they are going to be amazing plants. Okay, now for the little lime hydrangeas, just because they look a little stressed, a little crispy, and I want to make sure that they are as happy as they can. I went down to the shed and I grabbed some plant tone fertilizer. What I'm going to do is take just a little bit of this fertilizer and sprinkle it along the base of the plant. This is a slow release fertilizer, so it's going to ensure that the plant definitely gets the nutrients that it needs while it's in its nursery container. Up, and look, here is a big old weed. So let's slowly pull this out. Got it. I also got a couple more plants from the sale, but they don't need any weeding. Let me show you what I got. All right, I got these 2 shrubs right here, again for $20 a piece. This is a Pikea nefermorni. I have no idea if I said that right, but my goodness, look at how full this shrub is. It's amazing. And then I also got this blue spruce for $20. Look at how big that is. I just can't even believe the prices on some of these plants that I got. I also got 2 new generation boxwoods for the front flower bed. These were again $20 a piece. They're more resistant to boxwood blight and disease, and they can be shaped into a cone form. They get 3 feet tall by 3 feet wide in 15 years. And the last shrub that I got, look at the size of this shrub, $20. It's huge. This plant is a spice baby viburnum, and it is so pretty. Wow, look at that, very fragrant. Cannot wait to get this in the ground. Gorgeous. And lastly, I got a couple of annuals. I got 3 red grasses and 3 of the suncoleus. I'm gonna plant the suncoleus right around the water fountain coming up in a future video. Oh, and I did get one more thing. I almost forgot. I got this beautiful maple for $80. It is huge. Now the stake, it does need to be restaked, and I do have to weed this out as well. But this is gonna stay on the deck in the shade for now until I find the perfect location for it. I couldn't resist, I had to buy it. When we brought these plants home the other week, we just threw them all in the driveway in a big old heap and didn't have any organization. So my last step is I'm going to organize these plants as to if I know they're going in the front flower bed versus I need to find a spot in the landscape for this amazing plant because I had to buy it. Okay, so let's get these plants organized. My final tip is make sure that you're storing these containers by a water source. It doesn't make any sense to store these containers in a place that you cannot easily water and maintain and monitor them on a daily basis. So keep them front and center if you can. Buy a water source so you can quickly come out every day and give them a good water, and you'll be good to go. Okay, here's the plant haul. Better organized. These first 3 rows are all for the front flower bed. And the 4th and 5th row are all to be determined. And the cart is to be determined as well. I'm gonna call all that done and ready to go and prepped for planting whenever I get a chance to. That's it for this video. I hope you had as much fun watching this video as I had making this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.